everyone, welcome back to Grounded Haven. Recently I got a new order of seeds in that I'm going to share with you guys today. The whole order is from Baker Creek, and most of the things that I ordered are actually for the fall or early spring garden. There are just a few things that I still have time to plant for this year and this summer, but the main reason that I put in this seed order is to actually get ready for the fall garden, which I know seems crazy, but the time to start seeding these things is actually coming up really soon. Last year I think I started a lot of my fall vegetables in mid-July, and I think I was a little bit late. So this year I'm going to try starting in early July, which is actually only about a month away. So I wanted to get this order in sooner rather than later so that I could get the varieties I wanted. And also in case there are delays in shipping, which happens a lot these days, I wanted to get these things in time. So anyway, let me just start with the few things that I got that I still have time to plant for the summer. First, I got a couple of varieties of sunflowers. I got specifically shorter sunflowers because we wanted to put these in front of kind of like our driveway area, in front of where we park our cars, so that we get kind of a block from the road, but they're not too tall so that they block everything or so that they would fall over. So the first variety I got is called Short Stuff. This one grows at just 2.5 feet tall and it has really large heads. I also think that this will be a great one to grow for seeds. I'm growing a lot of sunflowers this year to save the seeds to feed to our chickens throughout the winter. So I think this would be another great one to add to our collection that stays a lot shorter than a lot of the giant sunflowers I've been growing for their large heads, because those ones can get up to like maybe even 10 feet tall, which is crazy large. And these will be easier to tuck in all around for seed production. I also got another variety called Gold Ring. These ones, the heads are a little bit smaller. They're only 3.5 to 4 inches across, but I think that they produce more flowers. It's more of a branching variety, whereas the other one I believe is more of like a single stem sunflower, and these ones are just 20 inches tall. So we definitely have a lot of time still to be growing more sunflowers. So I'm going to be starting a few of those soon so that we can pop them into the garden in maybe a week or so. Then I bought a new variety of okra called Heavy Hitter. And if you can see in this photo, the production just looks absolutely crazy. I just had to try this out. Okra does really well in our climate because it loves heat and even humidity. So I want to see if this new variety does better than the other varieties of okra that we have out there. Right now we have Clemson Spineless and Burgundy. Next we have a dried bean called Good Mother Stallard, and I bought these just because they are so beautiful. We eat so many beans that I don't think we could ever really grow enough that we have enough to get us through the entire year. So this is kind of just like a fun thing to grow, and maybe we can make like 1 or 2 special meals depending on how good the production is. But I just want to show you guys these seeds because they are absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the patterns on those beans. They have this like maroon kind of speckling on them. They're almost too pretty to grow or to eat. I've wanted to grow specialty beans like this for a while, but some of the other ones that I've tried to buy have been sold out for a while. So when I saw these, I snatched them up. I'm going to be planting these next to some of those giant sunflowers that I mentioned so that they can trellis along the sunflowers, because we don't really have a lot of trellising space left in our garden, but the sunflowers I think will provide really good support for this climbing bean. The next thing I got was maybe the thing that I was most unsure about whether or not I should add it, but it just looked kind of fun. This is a millet. And millet can be a human food crop, but I think I am just going to grow this for our chickens. I kind of have to figure out where I'm gonna put it, where other animals are not gonna eat it. But if we can get those really nice big millet seed heads, I think the chickens will really enjoy eating the seeds off of those. So those are most of the things that I am growing right now, but the rest of these seeds, and I have a good bunch of them here, pretty much all of these are for fall planting. So first off, I'm going to start with some root vegetables, and I have a couple of radish varieties. First, I have the white hailstone, which we actually grew this spring for the first time, and I really liked it. It didn't get pithy at all. Every single radish was completely smooth inside, and they have more of like a mild flavor, and they're very crisp. I really liked them, so I bought another packet of these because I pretty much used up all of our radish seeds this spring. We grew a lot of radishes and it's definitely been our best year for those. So I'm just restocking on a few things. Then I got a red variety. This one is called Giant of Sicily. I haven't grown this one, but honestly, a lot of red radishes I feel kind of do the same. I usually can't tell a difference, and I just wanted to restock on red radishes. Next, I have a white turnip called Tokanashi. I grew these once before. I didn't get like a huge harvest off of them, but they did taste really good. They were really good roasted. I think you can also eat these ones raw too. They kind of look like the white hailstone radishes, and I think they're more of like a mild flavor, and they're really good for growing in the fall. Next, I have some beets. This is a long cylindrical beet, which I have not tried before. Beets for us have not really grown very well. We've tried like the regular round red beets and we've gotten like okay success with that. And then we've also tried golden beets, which never really work for us. And I've heard some people say that these cylindrical beets do better for them because it's easier to get that like longer shape rather than a perfect circular shape. And this one is also supposed to have a really nice texture and be really sweet and tender. So we'll see if we can finally grow beets with this new variety. Next, I have some carrots. These are new Kuroda carrots. I still have a ton of carrot seeds, but a lot of the ones that I have, I think are more like spring and summer carrots. And I really wanted a carrot that would store well either in the fridge throughout the winter or even just in the ground, which I think in our zone we can do for a lot of the winter, maybe not until like January, February, but definitely through December. And I think this variety is supposed to be a little bit better for storage, so that's why I wanted to try it. The roots are a little bigger and blockier than the other varieties of carrots that we have, so it's gonna be really good for winter eating and cooking. For the next section, I have a bunch of greens. The first thing is a pretty standard, a black-seeded Simpson lettuce. These I believe just have like really nice loose leaf heads. And we can't grow lettuce throughout the summer, so I like to grow it in early spring and then wait until the weather cools off, and then we can grow it again in the fall. Then I have a dazzling blue kale. Again, I have a few varieties of kale already, but I really wanted to try this one. It looks really pretty. It looks like lacinato kale, which I really love. It's probably my favorite kale in terms of flavor and texture, but this one has a smoky blue color that looks so beautiful. So this is going to be a new one that I'm trying, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it because I love lacinato kale, and this one is just like a prettier version of that. Next, I have two varieties of spinach. I have a pretty standard Bloomsdale long-standing spinach, and then I have this giant of winter spinach. The reason that I got two varieties is that the Bloomsdale one I'm going to be growing in the spring, and then this one, since it's called Giant of Winter, I think will do really well in the fall and winter going into very early spring. This past year when I started my spinach in the fall, it wintered over very nicely. I was even able to harvest throughout the winter because I think we had a pretty mild winter this year. But getting varieties that do better in specific seasons and weather conditions is a really good way to get harvest during certain times of the year. So a lot of times I will get heat resistant varieties for the spring and into summer, and then I'll look for cold resistant varieties for the fall and winter. So that's why I got two kinds of those. Next, I have a couple of peas. And these are actually shelling peas, which I have never grown before. I've only ever grown peas where you eat the pods, like sugar snap peas and snow peas, just because shelling can be a very tedious task. But I did really want to try them this year and see if it's worth the time and effort. So I got two varieties. The first one is called Tall Telephone, and this one is one that needs to be trellised because the vines get very long. And then the other one is called Lillian's Caseload, and these ones are a dwarf variety, so the vines only get 2 to 3 feet. So I wanted to have both so that depending on how spaces open up in my garden, if I have a trellis that opens up, then I can plant the vining peas, but if I don't have space and I just have space in a bed with no support, then I can grow the dwarf variety. Because usually for my spring and summer garden, everything is very well planned out because I have spent all winter planning out where everything's gonna go. But usually for fall crops, things are a little bit up in the air depending on what things have died earlier and if things have been harvested already. Usually those things I can't really predict because it depends a lot on the weather or on pests or disease. So usually for the fall, I just have to pop things in wherever space opens opens up. So it's nice to have options for things that need different kinds of support and space. Then the last thing, I bought one packet of flowers. These are Canterbury Bells, another new variety for me. They just look so intriguing, and these are a biennial, I believe, which means that they bloom in their second year. But if you start biennial seeds in the summer and transplant them into the garden in the fall, they will winter over, and the next year in the spring or summer they should bloom, because going through that winter period they think that they've already gone through their first year. So that's what I'm going to be trying with these. These flowers kind of remind me of foxgloves because they have like tall spikes of flowers and the flowers are kind of bell-shaped. And foxgloves are one of my favorite flowers, which if you watched my last flower garden tour, you will probably know this. So I really wanted to get something that was kind of like that. I just really love the look of that kind of flower in the garden. Then because I ordered so many seeds, I did get 2 free seed packets, and the first one is Beni Hushi Mizuna. I've never had Mizuna before, and it's supposed to be kind of like mustardy, I think. And these are perfect to grow in the fall, so we'll be trying those along with all of the other greens that I ordered. And then they also sent a cucumber, and we do still have time for this, so I will be starting some of this if we have some trellis space open up. This I think is kind of like a smaller variety, and we usually really like cucumbers like that. So that is my full seed order. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all the new varieties that I got this time. Let me know what you're looking forward to planting in the fall this year, and I'll see you again in the next video.